Today I have with me the TUDOR Black Bay Bronze Blue. This model was released back in 2017 in collaboration with Bucherer, and at the time only sold in Bucherer retail locations in Europe. However, in 2021, TUDOR and Bucherer decided to bring this watch into the States to be sold exclusively through TUDOR, which was acquired by Bucherer in 2018. The watch in my hand is 4 years old, purchased from TUDOR the same year it was released, and from the looks of this strap, this was no Safe Queen. This is the first bronze case that I've handled in person, and I'm really impressed. Prior to this, I never really found the appeal of a case material that'll age over time. Seeing pictures on the internet of the Black Bay Bronze that have already darkened, they all had this rusted looking finish and certainly lost its brightness, something I was put off by. But that is precisely what this alloy is about. TUDOR calls this a living metal. The aging effect of bronze is an aspect that you can't get with your conventional case material. Whether it's a charming aspect is completely up to you. Bronze has its advantages. It's considered a very hard alloy that can withstand extreme temperatures and is corrosion resistant. With TUDOR's specific application, which is for customers to enjoy their wristwatches, they created an aluminum bronze alloy, which they believe is the ideal alloy for long-term durability and aesthetics. Over time, it will develop patina and the case will darken depending on its environment, just like you see with this example. So each case will be unique to the next. They even include bronze hardware on this leather strap that seems to have aged equally with the case. And if you do miss the pre-oxidized bronze when you first picked up your watch, you can always look into the chapter ring, which I presume is also made of bronze. The watch dimensions were also something I initially had no interest in, since it is considered a large watch. The case is 43mm across, thickness of 14.5mm, lug width of 23mm, lug to lug of 52.5mm. The crown is also large at 8mm, signed with the TUDOR Rose logo. This is probably the largest crown I've handled. The crystal is a slightly domed sapphire crystal with slight distortions on the edges, though I wish it had some more to give it more of that vintage vibe. The watch doesn't feel too heavy on the wrist, thanks to the lack of a bracelet. It weighs 115 grams on this leather strap. For reference, the Submariner, sized for my wrist, weighs 150 grams. The dial itself is about 31mm across, and the Submariner dial is about 27.5mm across. So it is unmistakably larger. And just for shits and giggles, I'll measure another watch, my Seiko Samurai, which is approximately 27.8mm. Now what stands out about this Black Bay, other than the fact that it's bronze, is the Explorer style dial with the 369 Arabic numerals, which seems to be reserved for all bronze models including the Black Bay 58. The dial and aluminum bezel are both finished in a flat dark blue that contrasts really well with the bronze, more so than the slate gray dial in the original Black Bay Bronze. It has gilt accents on the hands and hour markers, while the minute track and the printed texts are finished in bronze. The entire layout of the watch is intriguing, but not in a flashy, ostentatious way. It has a lot of warm tones, something you won't find from its big brother Rolex, and definitely stands out in a sea of stainless steel and precious metal case materials. The case is fully brushed, with drilled lugs for easy strap changes, and still maintains that hairline beveling across the case on the top of the lugs. The bezel action is no different from the Black Bay 58. It is a 60-click unidirectional bezel and still has that clean, crisp sound at each detent. The build quality is excellent with no lateral play on the bezel. The crown action is silky smooth and pleasant thanks to that large 8mm diameter and there's virtually no wobble on the crown assembly. Overall, it's what you would expect with a brand like TUDOR. The caseback is a PVD-coated steel caseback, not made of bronze, and the reason for that is because over time, as the bronze oxidizes, that surface layer can stain your skin and sometimes cause an allergic reaction. So to minimize that, the caseback was made to match the look of bronze. It is engraved with the Bucherer name and its founding year, 1888, on the edges to indicate that it's a special edition. The lume on this is excellent, as expected, and it's always a nice surprise seeing the Arabic numerals lit up, a favorite feature of mine. The movement inside is the in-house caliber MT5601, made specific to the Black Bay bronze models that offers 70 hours of power reserve, 25 joules, beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and is COSC certified. Here's a quick comparison between the Rolex Chromolite, TUDOR's Superluminova, and Seiko's Lumibright. I find that the TUDOR and Seiko outperforms Rolex simply because it has larger surfaces for their lume materials. However, all three have a long-lasting effect. Now here's the thing. Every time I see a large watch on paper, it always translates into a better than expected wearing experience. When I put this watch on my wrist, I felt like I could pull this watch off. Maybe it's the novelty of wearing a new watch, but I'll put up some camera angles from a distance to try and prove that it's not as large as the specs alone make it seem. If I really wanted to add this watch to my collection, I wouldn't think it's completely out of my range. Sure, it is a large watch, but it's comfortable. It doesn't feel like an anchor, and I think the saving grace here is the lack of a bracelet. A 23mm bracelet, I imagine, would have added a sizable chunk of weight to the watch. Plus, in my opinion, if you added a bronze bracelet that developed patina, the watch as a whole might look like a piece of rusted metal, whereas if you put a nice leather strap or a NATO strap, it gives it that clean, vintage look. The Black Bay Bronze Bucherer Blue is available to purchase at Tourneau if you're in the US for $4,475, which in the watch world is a great value proposition. So let me know what you guys think about how this watch aged over the last 4 years. Is it worth getting a watch that'll darken over time, or do you like to keep your watches looking like the day it left the store? I wasn't a fan of bronze initially, but seeing it and handling it in person gave me a newfound respect for this case material. Until next time, thanks for watching.